We're going to give it just another minute, and we'll get started. Thank you so much to those of you who are here to learn about these FAIR programs and give your feedback.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Potential FAIRs presentation. My name is Grace Wynn, and I'm here with Nick Taliaferro, and we're Community Engagement Coordinators at CapMetro. We're really excited to discuss our FAIR programs with you, and we know everyone is very busy this week, so thank you so much for taking the time to participate. Just for some general housekeeping, we do have live closed captions available in English. You can turn on this feature by clicking the CC button in the Zoom meeting toolbar. And this is located at the bottom middle of your screen. We also have Spanish and ASL translation available this evening. I will pass it to my colleague Jessie to give the Spanish introduction.
Hola, buenas tardes. Gracias por acompañarnos hoy para esta presentación de tarifas potenciales. Mi nombre es Jesús Marroquín. Yo soy uno de los coordinadores de participación comunitaria de CapMetro. Sé que todos estamos muy ocupados, so apreciamos que tome tiempo para participar en este enlace con nosotros. Si está participando en español, debería estar escuchando traducciones en español en vivo en este momento. O si desea escuchar esta reunión en español, oprima el botón Interpretación en la parte inferior de la pantalla. Seleccione la opción en español. Para continuar, pasamos con Nicole y Grace.
Thank you, Jessie.
Thank you, Jessie. So today's presentation, which thank you again for being here. So today's presentation will cover two proposed FAIR programs: FAIR Capping, a new way to pay for rides and save money as you go, and Equifare, an additional FAIR program for income eligible customers. Then we'll give you a review of the required Title VI analysis and the agency's community engagement and education efforts, as well as an overview of our next steps. So why are we here today? CapMetro wants to make our fares more equitable. We know that our customers pay for their transit passes one trip at a time instead of taking advantage of the savings that come with a day or monthly pass. So before we jump into the proposed programs, we wanted to take a moment to review the agency's FAIR strategy considerations. Our FAIR strategy included 6 key components, which include equity, ridership, programs, technology, responsiveness, and fare structure. Equity addresses affordability for low-income and minority communities. Ridership encourages increased ridership while mitigating downward pressures on revenues. Programs maintains and creates programs for various demographics, including senior citizens, military, employer-sponsored ILAs, and a few more we'll learn about today. Technology encourages contactless payments, other innovations, and integrations. Revenue supports equity in future fare adjustments in alignment with the Project Connect integrated financial model. And fare structure incorporates alternative fare structures. Examples are capped fares for all riders, which we'll learn about today. With these things in mind, let's dive into the 2 new fare programs, which will go to the CapMetro board for review on July 25th.
So one of our potential FAIR programs, and the first we'll talk about today, is fare capping. Fare capping is a way for riders to reduce how much they pay for their trips in a day or month by making sure that customers never pay more than the total cost of a day pass in a calendar day, so that's around $2.50, and that a rider never pays more than the total cost of a month pass in a calendar month, so around $41. And really the purpose of these programs, as we mentioned before, is that our riders tend to pay one trip at a time, and many riders cannot afford to pay $40 upfront to ride for an entire month. So essentially, fare capping allows riders to earn towards those passes rather than pay at once. So there are two types of fare capping. There is the daily cap. So when a rider pays for 2 single rides in one day, they earn a day cap and ride free the rest of the day. So to clarify, the daily spending for a rider is capped at $2.50. So for someone like me who takes 2 bus routes to work, the first 2 rides that I'll ride to get to work will cost $1.25 each. And once I've paid for those 2 rides, I hit my day cap. So on my 2 bus rides home, I won't pay an additional fare. And if I want to go to the grocery store or to visit a friend, I won't pay for any trips after those first 2. So really this functions similar to the existing day pass, but it becomes very important as we talk about the next type of cap, which is the month cap. So this is the daily example, similar to the one I just gave for people that have a commute like Victoria that requires a transfer from one bus route to the next. Once Victoria pays for 2 rides, she'll ride free for the rest of the day. So rather than paying $5 in fares for her 4 bus rides total, the 2 to work and 2 home, she'll only pay $2.50. So the second type of cap is the monthly cap, like I mentioned previously. And this is really useful for our daily riders and our riders who depend on our services for riding to work every day for all of the tasks in their daily life. So when a rider pays for 33 single rides, so pays 33 rides, whether that's $1.25 fare or whatever the fare rate is for you, within a calendar month, that rider will earn a monthly cap and ride free for the rest of the month. And this means that the monthly spending for that rider is capped at $41.25. And so just to give an equivalent, if a rider is riding every day to work at least twice, at about day 17, midway through the day, that rider will start riding free. So this rider will have up to 14 days per calendar month where they don't pay for a single fare. So what does that look like? For a rider like Victoria, who is a daily rider, she takes the buses on the weekdays to work, but also on the weekends too. So by the 17th day of the month, which you can see start on our calendar to the right, Victoria will earn her monthly cap and ride the bus free for the rest of the month. So if Victoria was just using day passes or paying in single fares for her trips, she may pay $75 or more to ride the bus for the entire month if she can't afford to pay for the month pass at $41 at the beginning of the month. So the real benefit is that Victoria, or riders like Victoria, will see up to $31 or $34 of savings per month on their transit trips, which can be huge, we know, for a lot of our riders. So how do you get fare capping?
Thanks for asking, Grace. So AMP technology is what CapMetro will be introducing in order to do fare capping, which riders will be able to use via a physical card, as you can see pictured on the slide, or in a new version of the CapMetro app. And that technology is both going to track your rides. And so rather than paying for single rides on their own, where there's no way to track and then be able to work toward that monthly cap, this card or app will track your rides and help you get to the daily cap or the monthly cap. And that technology will also allow you to load money onto either the card or the app, and that's called stored value, which is a phrase that we will continue to use today. And so you can store value, putting $5 on or $20 on, or, whatever it is that you've got available. And then every time you ride, it will subtract from your balance in your stored value. So riders will be able to tap their card or scan their app to pay from their stored value. And then, like I said before, AMP technology tracks how many single rides you pay for to give you the daily or monthly cap.
So will I need to buy tickets anymore?
No, so instead of buying tickets, you will be able to drive write in with your card. And I think on the next slide, actually, we show you the difference between the tickets and the card. But with a ticket, you're not able to reload money onto that ticket. It's just a single time use, whereas the card is something that is plastic and you can keep using it again and again. And if you register your account, then you are able, if you lose your card, but you've registered it, then CapMetro is able to provide another card, allowing you to get your stored value back.
Oh, I'd like to hear more about that.
Yeah. So here is a little breakdown between the ticket and the AMP card in the situation. So like I said before, the paper pass has a set value and limited use. A day pass equals $2.50, and you are able to use it to ride for a single day, and then that pass has been used and is no longer active or available for use. It also doesn't participate in fare capping because it lacks the AMP technology to track your rides. And so you can't earn free rides or cap your spending using a paper pass. Whereas with the card, it's a reloadable card or app where you can store value, allowing you to just pay as you ride. You put money on, and then when you get on the bus, you can either tap your card or scan your phone like you do now if you're paying with your phone. And then it'll subtract from your balance. It also tracks your rides and saves you money by letting you ride for free after reaching a daily or monthly cap.
What if I am a cash user and I like to pay with cash at the fare box?
So you will still be able to pay with cash at the fare box, but folks paying with cash instead of using the card won't get the benefits of fare capping. There's no way for CapMetro to be able to track how many times you've ridden in a day or in a month with cash. And so what the card allows you to do is, instead of paying that cash on board at the fare box, you can take it to one of our participating retailers, which we will show you on the next slide here. You can go ahead and skip to the retailers if you want. So the retailers here, you can see where you can take that cash and give it to the store clerk and load it onto your AMP account, whether that is on your card or onto your phone. You also can load money at the transit store or online, but we know that for a lot of cash riders, having access to these locations is going to be really helpful for them to be able to load money onto their card and then just ride and pay as they go, rather than having to pay at the fare box every time. Wanted to back up and tell you a little bit about the card versus the app, which we're kind of referring to as the physical card or the virtual card. So to get an AMP card, we will be passing those out at pop-up events. We'll have street teams out. You can get them at the transit store and at the retailers, as well as we're working with a lot of community-based organizations to help pass these cards out so that folks can start using them. So the first step is just getting a card. You then can choose to register your account, which is what I was talking about before, so that if you lose your card, it recovers your stored value. You load your initial funds, whether that's online at the transit store or at one of the retailers, and then use the card to pay as you go and earn daily or monthly caps, and then reload your card online with cash at the transit store, and then continue paying as you go. With the virtual card, using the app, downloading the new version of the CapMetro app when it's released will give you immediate access to AMP. In that case, you will register your account and tie a credit card to your AMP in the app, and that's how you will have stored value. Your card will be attached, and then when you're ready to increase your stored value to reload it, you just do that through your credit card that's attached. And you use your app to pay just like you do now, but it's tracking your rides to help you earn a daily or monthly cap. And then you can reload your app with the attached credit card and continue paying as you go, just like you do now, but the technology is tracking your rides. Can you tell me a little bit about how we decided on these retailers and how we know that folks can get to them?
Yes, so we worked with a consultant that determined how to space and appropriately select retailers around the Austin area. And so CapMetro uncovered with our Title VI equity analysis that there were no retail access deserts in Austin. So everyone should be able to reach one of our selected retailers in addition to the transit store throughout their neighborhoods and throughout Austin. And these proposed locations are expected to benefit minority and low-income customers to a greater degree than non-minority and non-low-income customers. And in addition, if a single retailer decided not to participate in the CapMetro distribution of AMP cards or the reloading process, there was no impact to the accessibility of these retailer locations. But also a part of this equity analysis found that the average fare across riders does not significantly differ between minority and non-minority riders of CapMetro, meaning that, or between low and non-low income riders of CapMetro within our designated 2% threshold. And so if you're interested in learning more about how retailers were selected or how CapMetro thought about the equity impacts of this project, you can learn more at our website, capmetro.org/fare programs, where the full report is posted. And we think that's a great read, though a little long. So I just wanted to give an example where we put all of these pieces together. We talked about AMP technology, we talked about fare capping, we talked about how these can benefit riders. But suppose we had a rider, like one named Jeremy, who wanted to save on his commute with fare capping, like our other rider, Victoria. So he decides to register for an AMP account. Jeremy decides that the physical card best suits his lifestyle. He doesn't use his CapMetro app often, even though it does have trip planning tools. And so he takes his AMP card once it's registered online to his local 7-Eleven and loads $5 cash to his stored value. So the next day, when Jeremy decides to ride the Metro bus to work, he taps his AMP card at the fare box, and rather than buying that ticket, it reduces his balance on his card by $1.25, the cost of a single ride. And you can see on the right that his balance goes from $5 to $3.75. So he has that amount left to pay for the next rides in the day. So Jeremy pays for one more ride to get to work, and once he has reached that second fare payment, AMP has tracked that he's spent $2.50 today, so he earns his daily cap and rides free. So if he wants to go to lunch on the bus, he can go to lunch and ride back to his office for no additional cost in fares. And so as he rides throughout the month, he can add more money to his stored value by visiting that same 7-Eleven location that's around the corner from his house. Or if he's feeling, excited about online options, he can go online to the AMP portal to load more money onto his account using a debit or a credit card.
It sounds like AMP is really useful. Is there anything else that AMP does?
Yes, so AMP actually gives riders access to 2 of our discounted fare programs that we have that reduce the cost of fares for different customers. So we have our existing program, which is called Reduced Fare, which gives that 50% discount on rides to riders that are 65 and older, people with Medicare, people with active duty military personnel status, and riders with disabilities. And to clarify, this 50% discount is required by the Federal Transit Administration for the starred categories. And so along with reduced fare, we saw an opportunity to expand access to a reduced fare program, and that is our additional proposed program called Equifare.
Let's learn about Equifare. So what is Equifare? Equifare is a potential fare program that offers discounted fares for income eligible customers. Eligible customers can apply online or at the transit store. And we will also be, like I said before, doing pop-ups, doing at-stop outreach, attending community events, and working with a lot of different community partners to enroll folks into the Equifare program. And then once they enroll, they will receive a discounted fare through the AMP technology. And so Equifare customers will also be able to take advantage of fare capping, additional savings for those riders each month. So in addition to a lower fare rate to begin with, they also benefit from fare capping and can earn those free rides each day or month. So here is a look at our current fare types. You can see the standard fare and the reduced fare. As we mentioned, the reduced fare is 50% off of the standard fare transit passes. And then here is a look at the potential new fare structure with Equifare. The proposed is out to the right here. And so it offers 25%, 25%?
Yes, it's a 25% discount.
A 25% discount for riders who qualify for Equifare. And so a local ride, a single ride, excuse me, would be $1 rather than $1.25. A day pass would be, which would earn you a daily cap, would be $2 versus $2.50. And then paying for that monthly cap instead of $41.25 would actually be $33. And then after those 17 days of 33, daily caps, then they ride free for the rest of the month after paying $33.
Yep, I just wanted to add that there is a discount as well for our commuter fares, which is the Metro Express and the Metro Rail. It is not quite a 25% discount, but it is discounted, and you can see that on the right here. Rather than a single ride being $3.50, it will be $3, and so on. So there is fare capping and Equifare for our commuter riders as well.
All right, so how are we determining eligibility for Equifare?
Yes, so as we stated before, we're looking at multiple ways in addition to kind of income eligible customers. So we think that riders that are enrolled in programs like Medicaid or SNAP or CHIP, or some of the programs listed here and some that aren't listed here, are a great way to give people access to the reduced fare provided by Equifare. But we recognize that the income requirements for these programs don't include all of the people who could benefit from a lower fare under Equifare. So we have also added that for any family or person that has a household income less than 200% of the poverty level, which you can see the table on the right, will also qualify for Equifare. And again, just to clarify too, that the same eligibility requirements that are used for City of Austin customer assistance programs on utility discounts also apply in this case. So as we think about who is eligible for Equifare, we also want to think about the best practices around applying and enrolling to be a part of Equifare, because we know that that can be a challenge for a lot of riders. So one thing that's really important that we're considering is that we'll allow self-verification of income or involvement in another social services program like SNAP or CHIP, where a rider will simply have to let us know or self-verify that they are a part of one of these programs and thus qualify for Equifare. This is a little caveat that at some point we might verify that they are a member of these programs and request one piece of documentation, but we want to keep that as streamlined and easy as possible because we know it's hard for people to submit paperwork frequently. We also are again hoping to make sure that enrollment into Equifare and education about Equifare is available both online and in person, whether through pop-up events or collaborations with community-based organizations. We want to make sure this is as easy as possible. And this might also look like working with other organizations to have organizations like ECHO or the Austin Area Urban League help us verify that their clients or the people they serve qualify for the Equifare program and can get enrolled easily without having to submit documentation. We also know that it is very hard to have to reapply for benefit programs. So we want to make sure that there is a 24-month rolling enrollment. So once someone is involved or enrolled in Equifare, they will be enrolled for at least 2 years. But we want to hear from you, the community, and also other people you know about the other pieces that we should consider as we're looking at creating and enrolling people in these programs, because we know it's not enough to just enroll. It's also important to make sure that it's easy for people to use. So just some of the questions we've been bringing to the community through these meetings, through in-person meetings, and also to our partner agencies is what are the different steps we need to consider when we think about enrollment, what organizations and groups can we partner with to roll out Equifare and fare capping and the AMP technology most effectively. And if you are a member of an agency or a nonprofit or a community organization, we'd love to learn from you directly about the best way to enroll your clients. And then we also want to make sure that we are reaching every person that rides transit or maybe doesn't ride transit in Austin to understand how these changes could impact their life, or what best practices we could put in place to make this easy for people of different technological income means, all of those different factors. So how are we doing that, Nick?
So we are doing extensive community engagement and partnerships. That is what our community engagement team has been really busy with during this engagement period prior to it going to the board on July 25th, but those will continue. We are beginning a pilot program and we are partnering with a lot of community organizations and leaders to support the implementation of the new fare programs. Our staff is working with nonprofits and agencies specifically that provide housing, healthcare, education, and unhoused services to educate and enroll their clients in person. And some of the groups that we are currently partnering with are Foundation Communities, Austin Area Urban League, Casa Marianella, ECHO, and so many more. But if you have one that we didn't mention that you want to make sure that we are working with, please feel free to let us know. We've got a long list, but are really looking for any opportunity to let people know about Equifare, because as we've stated, if folks are paying with their cash or don't know about this, then they're not benefiting from the savings of fare capping or of Equifare. And we know that there are so many of our essential riders who benefit from both of those programs. So in addition to working with the community organizations, we're also doing a lot of communications out from our different social and media. We have both a web page and a program page where folks can provide feedback to some specific questions about the program. And all of that is being consolidated into a very large report that is going to the board as they look over this program and what different changes need to be made or what things need to be included in the implementation and enrollment processes. We also are putting out flyers at our at-stop outreach and at different community events. We have bus placards in both English and Spanish on board our vehicles. We have been sending out emails and doing in-person events and lots of partnerships. I think we have some radio ads out there, just really trying to get the word out about both fare capping and Equifare so that as many people as possible know that it's coming and can provide feedback before the programs go for board approval. So what are our next steps as we have this board meeting coming up in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, so some of the things we're doing, you can see here, I won't read all of them, but we've mentioned many of them. We're conducting these virtual meetings. This is our last kind of virtual community meeting before the board reviews these programs. We've also presented to many different board advisory committees like the DEI group or our Metro Access Committee. And we're meeting with different staff of social services organizations and the city of Austin to talk about Equifare and fare capping and how we can spread the word best. We've also talked to organizations like Central Health about their experiences with enrolling and implementing similar programs. We're also making sure that we show up. So I know Nick and I were out at Republic Square the other day talking to people in person about our programs and passing out flyers. We're doing different events, both in person and virtually. And we're also thinking about how we can, if these programs are approved, start to streamline, bless you, some of these,
I'm so sorry.
streamline some of these processes of enrollment and implementation. And one of those things we're looking at is about how we can pilot this effectively if these are approved, making sure we have all of the people and the different types of users of CapMetro services enrolled and on board. So thank you so much for participating or being a part of this presentation today. We just want to highlight that you can share your program feedback both here, but also on our public input webpage, which you can see here. We will also send this link in the chat because we know it's not fun to type it out. But also if you visit the CapMetro website on the FAIR programs page, there is a link to the public input site. In here, there is information about our programs. There's a recording of presentations like this one. And we also have a space where you can provide feedback by typing up answers to our to questions that you may have. So additionally, if you are an individual or a community leader, or you have an idea of a group that it might be useful for us to connect with, feel free to reach us at engage@capmetro.org to request a meeting or with any questions you may have. We're super excited and happy to go out there if you can think of a group that would really benefit from learning and providing feedback about these potential programs. And with that, I'm going to check the Q&A to see if we've got any open questions. If you've got a question or a comment you want to share, you can put it in the Q&A box or chat it directly to Nick. If that's your name on Zoom right now?
Yes, it is.
Yes. So we'll just give it a moment and we will also check out some of the questions coming in from our streaming platforms. But we will give it a moment if anyone has something they would like to share or ask.
We so appreciate you joining us today. And again, if you have lingering thoughts or questions.
Yes, we don't have any questions at this time, but we will give it another moment. But again, like Nick was saying.
Yes, if we do, or if you do have questions beyond this meeting, whether you are watching streaming or here with us on Zoom, you can send those questions to engage@capmetro.org. You can, if you're wanting to request a meeting for us to come and speak to a group that you're a part of, you can also email there. And if you want to provide specific feedback about the programs, the publicinput.com/fair-programs page has all the information about the programs as well as a page for program feedback where you can see what others have recommended and suggested, as well as leave your own input about how we can make these programs as accessible and inclusive as possible.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
All right, and with that, enjoy the rest of your day. And again, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us at engage@capmetro.org.